Hey everybody, I just wanted to go live today to talk a little bit about how to do a parasite cleanse. And I have been researching this for myself for quite a long time. I lived in China for 2 years after college, so I have definitely been around Asia and around the world, and I knew that parasites were a thing, but I didn't really think about how they could be affecting me until a couple years after I came back from living in China, and I had some kind of like a weird rash on kind of the side of my foot, and it was just itchy and like it wouldn't go away, and the dermatologist didn't know what it was, and it was just weird. So I just basically, went and, yikes, sorry. So I went and researched it myself, trying to figure out like what is this rash? Like, what is it? Like, what could be the root of it? Like, the dermatologist, all they said was, let's put some cream on it. Go to Costco, get some Lamisil cream or whatever, and put it on that. And I was like, I don't think that's gonna fix it because I've tried like everything. But I tried it. I got that. It didn't work. Nothing worked, and they just raised my insurance for visiting the doctor and asking the question. It was crazy. So this kind of like began my journey into kind of like just trying to figure out like what's the root of things and like how to find the reason for the symptoms that we have, not just try to cover them up, not just try to band-aid them, not just try to just get rid of the symptoms, but try to actually figure out, okay, so what is going on inside of my body? Like, why is this happening to me, right? And then just addressing that, right? And we don't always know exactly what's going on in our body, but symptoms can give you a pretty good clue. And natural things like herbs and, food and different natural things can really help, right? Like they can actually get to the root of it, right? So there are medicinal compounds and herbs. Food is medicine, right? Like there's a strong, powerful medicine in nature that if we can figure out how to address our symptoms, then sometimes we can get to that root and we can actually start healing, right? And in my experience with pharmaceuticals and with Western medicine, that's usually not the case. Like that's not how you heal. It's just basically something that tries to address symptoms, tries to cover them up, tries to make you feel better until your body heals itself, right? But the meds themselves are not actually healing, right? And a lot of times they will cause further imbalance, and they will cause they will just cause more problems over time. So that's what I found. That's kind of the reason I started researching this stuff. I don't think I have any questions yet, but basically, no, I don't have any questions yet. If you have any questions, just put them in the comments or whatever, and we can chat. But I just I'm really interested in finding the root cause of things, and the more that I research, the more that I see that it is in first of all, the gut, but the communication between the gut and the brain, and the parasites can get in there and do a lot to kind of disrupt all of that balance, right? And cause further imbalance. So everything is connected, right? Like I was just talking to a friend on Messenger on Facebook. And if you're not in the group yet, I have a parasite group where there's a lot of really good discussion in there, and we do a group cleanse once a month. So come on over if you want to be in the group. It's, leaky gut is huge, Adam. That's very tied in to all of this stuff. So gut imbalance and parasites can all, tie in and lead to leaky gut, and leaky gut can cause all the problems, autoimmune issues, food allergies, all kinds of allergies, all kinds of stuff, like crazy stuff. Okay. And then that just leads to more imbalance and more sickness. And that's why you get people who snowball into like more and more problems, more and more symptoms, more and more issues. So that's just kind of how it goes. Like if you don't address that, like one of the first things that I do in my 3-step protocol is to seal those leaks in the gut, because if you don't do that, then you're going to have a problem. Right? Like you're leaking stuff that's not supposed to be in your bloodstream into your body. That can even cause sepsis. Like that can be life-threatening, right? So leaks in your gut is not a good idea, right? So I just like to get down to the root of things. And if you're not in the group, it's called The Truth About Parasites, How We Heal. and it's on Facebook. So if you go on Facebook and just search The Truth About Parasites, How We Heal, or if you go on my bio, there's a link. There's a direct link to the group. So you can just click on that and then request to join. Just put a little note in there so I know who you are. Just say, you know, saw you on TikTok or whatever. I just kind of ask like if you have any symptoms or anything. How did you heal your leaky gut? So there's a couple of things that I've done. There's actually very common herbs that will help to soothe and seal the gut lining. Okay. That doesn't mean that they completely seal it themselves. They do seal it, but it's almost like a Band-Aid. They kind of smooth it over until your body can regenerate the gut lining, which it does every 5 to 7 days. So it's good to use those herbs to help soothe it so that it doesn't keep getting inflamed and irritated and tearing back open. So I use a multi-pronged approach. Basically, it's a 3-step protocol for parasites. And I start with sealing leaks in the gut. The first step is step 1. It seals leaks in the gut. It opens up detox pathways and it supports the liver and kidneys. It's actually only 3 days. It's the best thing I've seen for prepping yourself for a parasite cleanse. All of those things need to be done before you start a parasite cleanse. So step 1 is vital, very important to open those detox pathways. Otherwise you can get sick. You can get some pretty bad die-off symptoms depending on what you have going on. How do you know if you have leaky gut? So pretty much everybody has it to some extent. But the gut lining does regenerate itself every 5 to 7 days. So it just depends on the atmosphere, like the environment inside of your gut, as to if it just keeps like staying permeable or if it's sealed, right? So the most common symptoms that I look for to know if you have leaky gut is if you have food allergies, or really any allergies, but food allergies are like a slam dunk. Basically, if you have any food allergies or sensitivities at all, and especially if they kind of came on suddenly or you're becoming more allergic to more foods over time, that is a pretty strong indicator that you have a problem with leaky gut. Okay. And it's the herbs and the protocols, it's actually not that difficult to address. You just kind of have to know what to do, right? So there's slippery herbs. Some examples of these are aloe, slippery elm, marshmallow root. They're these slippery herbs that when you get them wet, they're very like kind of slimy and slippery. So there's different ones that you can take to help with it and to help soothe the gut lining. Like aloe is very soothing for the gut lining. This is why you see aloe and those herbs in some of these products for the gut, because it helps to do that. And that basically soothes it over. So as you start healing the gut and as you start killing parasites and healing the gut and getting rid of the toxic biofilm and that kind of thing, then your gut can regenerate itself and start healing itself. Right. So it's really the best kind of Band-Aid, I think, but it's very important. It's very important to do before you do any type of cleanse, is to address the leaks in the gut, to open up the detox pathways, and to basically, support the liver and the kidneys. Because if anything's blocked up anywhere in your body, in your gut, in your elimination pathways, then you're going to get sick when you start, doing any kind of detox, because those toxins and those parasites and all of that stuff can't get out, right? So if it gets backed up, then it's going to keep kind of repoisoning you and making you sick, okay? And that can be anything from a headache to nausea to just not feeling very good, being irritable, brain fog, to full-blown flu-like symptoms. So you could just feel like you got sick, like really, really sick, right? And that's miserable. Nobody needs that, right? So that's step 1. Step 1 prevents that basically as much as possible. And then so open up those detox pathways with step 1. Then step 2 is the actual parasite cleanse. And there's a number of things that are anti-parasitic. So you can choose the things, right? If you look in my bio, I have links to all the steps, right? So step 1 is a gut reboot. Step 2 is if there's an Amazon store and I just throw everything in there that's anti-parasitic. But up at the top of my bio is an article that gives you a step-by-step, like blow-by-blow instruction on exactly what to do for your very first parasite cleanse. So if you're overwhelmed, you have no idea where to start, you have no idea what to do, go to my bio, click on the first link there, and it's a very short little article on a web page that tells you exactly what to do, exactly what to buy, and exactly what order to do it in. Okay. And definitely come join the group because there's a lot of support in there. The group is on Facebook. There's also a link to that in my bio. So you can just click that. It's called The Truth About Parasites, How We Heal. That's on Facebook. So definitely click the first link to read the step-by-step. You can order all the supplies and come join the group so that you have all the support you need. And you can always reach out to me too. So I can just kind of lead you through it. I know it can be a little bit overwhelming, right? Like if you've never done it before and you're a little bit scared and you just don't know what to do and you don't know what to expect or anything like that. So definitely check my bio because I've got everything. I'm trying to make it as easy as possible. But definitely feel free to message me. I have a Google Voice number that I have linked in my bio as well, or just get in the group on Facebook and you can message me from there on Messenger. So I'm happy to help however I can. And the group, again, is really good for, there's so many people in there that are doing this all at the same time. And they're answering questions and people are just discussing it with each other and like recommending different things that they've tried and that's working for them and like just telling people what to expect and encouraging each other and all this stuff. It's very good. It's very good. So the group has been growing pretty fast, but it's a really good community in there. So it's been good. So that's how you can see what step 1 is. Step 2 is killing the parasites. And then step 3, I think, is the most important step. And I feel like people kind of overlook it or try to skip it, but it's actually the most important. Step 3 is like making sure the parasites don't come back. Okay. So you have to think about it. Like, here's what happens. Like people say, okay, I'm just going to take antiparasitics. So they just get antiparasitics, like an herbal formula or like a med. There are pharma ones. So you can get like a pharmaceutical one or herbal ones or whatever. They take that and then they're like, okay, I'm just going to hit this. I got this. I'm strong. I'm going to kill them and then I'm going to be better. Right. If you don't do step 1, you don't open your pathways, you're probably going to get sick and you're going to feel awful and you're going to want to stop. And so it's just not going to be very effective, right? Because you're going to feel awful and if you stop, you'll feel better. So you stop, right? They have die off. So if you start attacking them and you haven't opened your detox pathways, then there's toxins that can't go anywhere and you just get yourself in trouble. So don't skip step 1. Okay. Step 2 is the parasite cleanse. Everybody kind of knows about. Step 3 is making sure they don't come back. So here's the problem. People jump in, do the parasite cleanse. They're like, all right, I killed them. I didn't feel that great, but I got them out. I'm good. And then they feel good. They feel better for like a month or 2. And then after that, they come back with a vengeance and they're like, what the heck? It didn't work. No, it did work. It totally worked. The problem is you didn't ask yourself this question. Does anybody know what the question is? The question is, why were they there to begin with? Okay. Like, why were they able to live in my body in the first place? Okay. Because if you don't change that environment in your body that allowed them to thrive in the first place, they're going to come right back. Okay. That's the most important thing, is changing that environment. You have to strengthen your immune system. You have to replenish your microbiome. You have to, strengthen your whole body and make your body inhospitable to parasites. So raise your hand if you want to be a good host for parasites. Raise your hand. Okay. If we don't do anything, if we just keep eating whatever we're eating, keep doing whatever we're doing, the parasites that we had before, they will come back. Okay. Because we didn't change anything. Does that make sense? Like, it makes sense, right? Like, if we don't change it, if we don't change that environment, we can kill the parasites, but for one thing, we can't ever probably kill completely all of them forever. Plus we're constantly exposed, right? So there may be some eggs left. There may be different varieties left that we didn't get to, or we may be re-exposed through the water, through the food, through the air, through like walking outside, through the dirt, whatever. We can't ever, we should try to avoid them whenever we can, but we can never expect to just completely avoid them. We just need to be aware that we're going to be exposed and make ourselves as inhospitable to them as possible. So that's what step 3 is about. Okay. And I think that's the most important step, because honestly, if you do step 3 well, you don't even need the other 2 steps. Okay. Because you're healing from the root. Okay. But if you don't do step 3, then you're going to have to do it all over again and over again and over again. Okay. So that's why I have 3 steps. That's why it's, important to do all 3 steps if you want to actually heal and sustainably heal and, make sure they go and they don't come back, and that you strengthen yourself against future attack, because it will happen. You will be exposed in the future, right? But as long as you're aware of that and you're living your life in sort of an anti-parasitic way, you're eating good whole foods, you're not eating a whole bunch of sugar and processed foods, and exposing yourself to a lot of chemicals, and you're doing all the good things to keep your gut microbiome healthy and balanced, then you're going to have a strong immune system. You're going to have a really good defense against those parasites, and they're not going to be able to take over again like they did before. And when they start taking over your whole body and it becomes systemic, that's when, I believe from research, we see stuff like autoimmune disease, cancer, all of these systemic problems that we're seeing in our society that are haunting us, right? Like, we're so terrified of these diagnoses, but we don't have to be. We don't have to be. Once we understand how this stuff works and how we can prevent those things and protect ourselves and strengthen ourselves against them, that's the best freedom ever, right? Like, I'm not afraid of those diagnoses. I don't think that it could happen to me because I understand how it works, right? Like, I understand how I can prevent it from happening, right? So if I can live my life in that way, then I don't have to be worried. I don't have to be scared. I don't have to be stressed about like something coming around the corner and, some crazy diagnosis hitting me in the back of the head, So I just that's what I do. I dive into research and I try to figure out like, how does this work? Right. And then I address it, right? Like, I address it in the most natural way I can figure out to do. So, anyway, I hope everyone can benefit from the research that I've done. I'm just sharing like what I've learned. I've just become such a researcher, right? Like, I studied engineering. I have a degree in engineering in college, not computer engineering, but I just have that kind of mind, right? Like, that I need to research and I need to figure it out and I want to know how it works, right? So I've just always had that kind of mind that I have to figure it out. Like, how does this work? So it probably drives my family and my people crazy, because I'm always like, okay, wait, how does that work? How does that work? Hang on. And I have to figure it out. I have to figure out how it works. Right. So, I'm just trying to share to the best of my ability how I figured out that these things work. And so, I've been, experimenting, doing this stuff on myself for years, and I'm just, trying to make this information available to everyone. The information is free. You just need to get your own supplies, and I will help you and walk you through it. So come to the group. It's called The Truth About Parasites, How We Heal. It's on Facebook. You can go to my bio, and the top link is an article. It's a step-by-step, just like so clear and simple. And if it's not simple, or if you have a question, just reach out to me. I'd love to simplify it more if I can. I won't know if it's simple enough if you don't, if people don't reach out and tell me what's confusing, right? So I'm just trying to make it as simple and easy as possible. So read that. It's short. It's just step by step. Like, buy these supplies, do this first, do this second, do this third, right? Very step by step and easy, because I know, if you're sick, you don't want to have to try to figure this out. It's overwhelming, right? So read that, and then reach out to me with any questions. Grab your supplies, come over to the group in Facebook. The link to the group is also in my bio, and we'll do it together. Okay. It's the middle of the month, so we're probably going to do another cleanse in about 2 weeks. So if you grab everything now, then you'll have everything you need, and we can do it together. Let me see what other questions there are. What do you recommend for arthritis and sternum and spine? I would just recommend that you start doing parasite cleanses and start getting to the root of the gut-brain axis. And so here's the thing. Like, the more that you start to heal, the more you heal. Okay. So it all starts somewhere. I talk to people all day, every day. And a lot of times I'll be like, I'll try to figure out like, where did this start? Like, what year did it start? How long has this been going on? Where did it start first? What triggered it? I always try to drill down to those details, because if I can do that, if I can figure out where it started and like what triggered it, then I can say, look, See, this is how we address it. We start here. We start at the root right here. Okay. So the thing is, in all this research, I've found that there's one root. There's one starting place. Okay. If you want to address symptoms, that's one thing. And I can recommend certain things. Boron is a good supplement for joints. So, MSM and boron are both really good for joints. You can take those, and that can, there are actually parasites that can infest the joints, and spine is joints too. But antiparasitics and parasite cleanses and gut healing will make your whole systemic body inhospitable to parasites. Okay. Especially if you do all three steps, right? So you prep, kill parasites, and then make sure they don't grow back, and strengthen your body, replenish your microbiome. Okay. That just naturally makes your body inhospitable to them, and they just start coming out because they can't live there anymore. Okay. So there are parasites that live in the spine. There are parasites that live in joints. Okay. There are microscopic, there are intracellular parasites that, a lot of people have linked back to things like cancer. So, it's just, there's so much information. So I hope you will come to the group, and I hope we can learn together and we can heal together. Okay. So we're going to do another cleanse in about 2 weeks. I'm going to see if I've got any more questions that I didn't get to. These all just start scrolling. So sometimes I miss them. If I didn't answer a question, go ahead and, put it there again to make sure I see it. If you're still here, figure out the source. Yeah. Step 3 is figuring why were they thriving, but also figure out the source. So for step 3, here's the thing. Step 3 is let's make sure that our bodies are not hospitable to parasites anymore. Okay. So there are good ways to do that. Okay. So if you have a really good diet, if you're eating a lot of fermented foods, if you have lower toxic load, so you get rid of all the toxins in your life. Basically, you're breathing really clean air, you're drinking really clean water, you're flushing out all the toxins all the time, you're keeping your elimination pathways open. These are ways to keep our bodies inhospitable to parasites. And there's foods we can eat, like pumpkin seeds and walnuts and cayenne pepper and walnuts. I mean, all kinds of things, all kinds of foods that are anti-parasitic. Basically, it's all the whole food things, all the good food, right? Anything that's not processed, not sugar, not alcohol, all of the good things that we know are good. Those are the things that we should be eating most of the time, right? We know this. We already know this. This is stuff that we know, right? But do we do it? Probably not very well, right? And I'm not saying that everybody has to be super strict about everything all the time, but try the 80-20 rule or whatever, where you try to do your best at least 80% of the time, right? But what I do for step 3 is I try to give you a really good start. So I've got some really good strains of biotics. So probiotics, prebiotics, phytobiotics, and postbiotics. So basically those are just inundating your gut with good bacteria so that you can bring that balance back to a good place. Okay. The better the balance is in your gut microbiome, the less hospitable you are to parasites, because you've got good bacteria in there. That's your immune system. It's fighting for you. Your body's getting stronger. Things are starting to resolve naturally because it's root cause. It's getting to the root of those issues. Okay. It's not just covering over symptoms, although it'll probably relieve some symptoms too, but it's actually healing you. Okay. So, that's why I do step 3. Another part of step 3 is basically so you're inundating your gut microbiome with good bacteria. Because after you flush out parasites, you just need to put good back in to replace the bad, right? So you flushed out a bunch of the bads, you got to put good back in, or the bad's just going to grow right back, right? Change that environment, change that balance in your favor, right? And then there's a couple of, the other supplement has a couple of anti-parasitic spices in it. So it starts just making your body inhospitable to parasites. And so people keep passing parasites after the cleanse. They take these 2 things and parasites keep coming out a lot of times. And you start feeling better. You start getting rid of inflammation. it just gets better and better. It depends on what your issues are, right? But like, it just brings down inflammation. It brings up balance. It helps your brain fog to clear and your digestion to run more smoothly, and you start absorbing things better. And it's like a snowball. It's like a cycle, right? So, everything just starts improving, right? Just like you may be used to everything like getting worse over time, it just starts getting better. So you just start going that other direction, right? All right, let's see. I had a horrible relapse, a cut in my colon reopened. Stress colitis. Yeah, that's awful. I'm sorry to hear that about that. If you want to chat, feel free to reach out to me and I can give you any suggestions that I have. In these little comments, it's hard to like know the whole story. So in my bio, I have an article that tells you where to start. I've got a Google Voice number where you can text me if you want to discuss things, and the link to that group on Facebook where we all help each other. So come do any of those, all of those things, and check out the 3 steps and all of that. Hopefully you guys can hear. Somebody said they can't hear very well. Hopefully the sound is good. Let's see. Ended up with RA and I think it's parasites. I have changed my diet and I can control inflammation. RA is autoimmune, and yes, I believe it is. A lot of times it is caused by parasites. There are certain parasites that infest the joints, as I mentioned earlier. And I've seen it help a lot of people. So come over to the group for sure. And message me, because I have some suggestions for you specifically. And I've seen people specifically resolve RA and, improve with that specific thing. So definitely message me and I can give you any suggestions that I have. Another unemployed one, guys. That's super helpful, dude. You are so helpful. Super helpful. Let's see. I blocked him. It's okay. All right. So anybody have any other questions? I was just reading through the comments and I had to block that guy because he has been around before. I guess he likes to troll people. So if I missed your question, go ahead and write it there too, and I'll try to see it. Or feel free, if you want to just message me. I have a Google Voice number in my bio. You can find it there and text me if you have any questions. And the group, there's so much experience and people are doing it real time in the group. They're doing different types of cleanses. They're using different products from different places. There's people all over the world in there. So there's a link to the group in my bio. You can click that. It's a free Facebook group. A lot of really good discussion in there. And we do a cleanse together once a month. So it's not like everybody doing the cleanse once a month. It's just whoever wants to do it that month can jump in. But I just sort of lead it and offer support and answer questions and all of that kind of thing. So if it's your very first time doing a parasite cleanse, look at the top link in my bio and I have an article that I wrote out. It's not very long. It's just step by step exactly what to do. Okay. I've got step 1, step 2, step 3, and exactly what to do for each step, where to order the supplies, all of that. So you can read through that. If you have any questions, message me. I'm here. Come to the group. A lot of people have been doing it every month and we've been getting such good results. There's a ton of pictures, guys. Like you don't have to look at the pictures if you don't want to, but there's a ton of pictures. Like people are posting pictures every single day of the stuff that they're seeing. They're sharing their experiences. They're talking about exactly what they're using and everybody's using something different. So it's a good place to learn. It's a good place to learn and see just what people's experiences are and their results. And if somebody has the same issue as you and they're getting good results, then you can get a good idea of like what you might want to try and like how to do it and how they did it and like what was the best way. Right. So, anyway, I hope that was helpful. I'm glad that you guys were here today. And if you want to get more information or if you want to do a first-time parasite cleanse, again, check my bio. Top link is basically like a step-by-step instruction of what to do the very first time that you do a parasite cleanse. There's 3 steps. So that article kind of explains that and exactly what to do step by step. It's simplified. There's a Google Voice number in there if you need to message me and ask me any questions or discuss anything specific about what you're going through. And then there's a group. So Facebook group. It's also linked in my bio. Come on over, learn and heal together. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Have an awesome day, and I will try to go live again soon, but it is the middle of the month. We're going to be having another cleanse in about 2 weeks. So jump on into the group and let's do it together. Have a great day.